see my screen now, right? Yes.
Yes, we can see your screen.
All right. Hi, and welcome to my presentation about a new data mesh era. So I just made a presentation, but in case you're watching this presentation afterwards, a brief introduction. My name is Jorge Powers. I'm a dad of 3 kids. I'm a computer and system scientist. I'm a football enthusiast. I'm a data privacy manager with a passion for user privacy and data integrity. I worked in IT for more than 12 years and have a proven track record in data analysis and operations management within privacy-focused environments. I have a strong background in GDPR compliance and privacy audits. I'm a long-time advocate and contributor for open source. I've been working with Matomo for more than 7 years, and I'm a certified Matomo master trainer and trusted partner. I have led numerous data migrations from Google Analytics to Matomo with a focus on privacy and data ownership. And skills, well, I know a lot about everything, or more specifically, I'm working on right now, it's Matomo, SQL, Tableau, Docker, Kubernetes, API integrations, Webflow, JavaScript, tag management, systems. I'm also a project manager. I'm educated in neuro leadership and stakeholder management. I'm also teaching a course in data management right now at a school, where I'm teaching about domain-driven design and data science and data architecture. I'm the founder of Jorge's, and I will start my presentation. The rise of data mesh and the overview of traditional versus decentralized data management. So in our traditional way of building applications, would probably look something like this. You would have a user interface, some business logic, and data access layer connect to a database where you extract your data from. All data flows into a central data warehouse or data lake managed by a centralized IT or data team. I just noticed that I'm not sharing my camera, which... Come on. There you are. So as I was saying, in traditional data architectures, all data flows into a central data warehouse or data lake managed by a centralized IT or data team. This centralization is designed to give organizations a single source of truth, where all data is stored, processed, and accessed in one place. While this approach can work well in smaller environments, it faces significant challenges as data volumes and organizational complexity grows. So some of the challenges when data volume increase, centralized architecture struggles to scale efficiently. Adding more data and more users to a single system creates performance bottlenecks and requires increasingly complex infrastructure. With a centralized model, data ownership typically rests with the central data team rather than individual department or business units. This means that the teams must often wait for data access or reports, leading to bottlenecks and reduced flexibility. Centralized data systems face privacy risks as sensitive data from multiple domains is stored together. This increases the chances of data breaches and makes regulatory compliance like GDPR more difficult to manage consistently across all data types and regions. In the data mesh solution, Data Mesh offers a modern, decentralized approach to data management. Instead of pooling all data in one central repository, Data Mesh distributes data ownership and management to the business domains that generate and use it. This makes data more accessible, relevant, and manageable across departments. In a data mesh, each business domain like marketing, sales, or customer service owns and manages its own data as a product. This means each team has responsibility for the quality, governance, and accessibility of its data. By bringing data management closer to the teams that use the data, Data Mesh eliminates the bottlenecks of a central data team and makes data more actionable at the team level. Because each domain operates in its own data system, Data Mesh is inherently more scalable than a monolithic architecture. Teams can scale their data resources independently and adapt more quickly to changes. This domain-level scalability allows organizations to grow without the constraints of a central data repository. Data Mesh also supports privacy by design. By distributing data management across domains, sensitive data can be stored and processed accordingly to each domain's specific privacy requirements, which improves compliance with regulations like GDPR or the California Consumer Privacy Act. Each team can enforce privacy controls specific to its data, making compliance easier and more flexible across the organization. The 4 principles of a data mesh. As you can see my dots here, imagine each department like marketing, sales, or customer support owns its own data instead of relying on a central IT team. This means each team controls and is responsible for the data they collect, ensuring it meets their specific needs. It's like each team has their own set of specialized tools and data they can trust without waiting for approval or access from the centralized team. In Data Mesh, data is treated like a product that serves others with the organization, just as a product has a product manager who ensures quality and usefulness. Each domain manages its data with similar level of care and responsibility. They package it thoughtfully so it's reliable, usable, and easy for others to understand and access. And self-service data infrastructure. With Data Mesh, each team gets the infrastructure to manage their data independently without needing to rely on IT for every request. Think of it like self-checkout at a store. teams have tools to get what they need quickly. This infrastructure gives them control while keeping data accessible and manageable within each team. Data mesh doesn't mean total independence. There are still overarching rules and standards. This is federated governance, where each domain follows shared guidelines for privacy, quality, and compliance. It's like having local teams that follow common company policies, ensuring consistency and compliance while giving each team flexibility to operate in a way that suits their needs. Some challenges addressed by the data mesh approach are in traditional data architectures, data is often isolated within departments or locked in systems, creating data silos. When data is siloed, teams struggle to access information outside their department, leading to incomplete insights and inefficiencies. With data mesh, these silos break down because each domain owns and shares its data as a product that others can access and understand. By decentralizing data, data mesh ensures that insights flow freely across the organization, empowering teams to make better data-informed decisions. And as organizations grow, centralized data systems often struggle to keep up, becoming bottlenecks. With data mesh, each domain has its own data infrastructure that can be scaled independently based on its need. This decentralized ownership allows each team to be agile and efficient, adapting their data solutions as they grow or as new needs arise. Instead of waiting on a central IT to scale the system, teams have the autonomy to adjust their own data resources, making the organization more responsive and flexible overall. In today's regulatory environment, privacy and compliance are crucial, especially for organizations handling sensitive data. Traditional systems can make it difficult to apply consistent privacy rules across departments and regions. Data mesh tackles this by allowing each domain to manage its own data with a framework of federated governance. This means that while each team has autonomy, they still follow shared standards for privacy and compliance, tailored to fit their specific data needs. This localized control helps ensure that each department can meet its regulatory obligations without compromising privacy. Now, data mesh as a concept is still pretty new for me. I've been in IT for almost 15 years now, and data mesh was first coined in 2019, I think. Now I forgot the name, but I see this being more popularized, especially in Sweden, where big corporations, but also outside of Sweden, in big organizations where data plays a central role, they are starting to implement a more data mesh approach to building their systems, or transitioning from old monolithic or data warehouse data lakes architecture to a more decentralized data mesh approach. So what is Matomo's role in this new data mesh era is, if you watched my recent topic about distributing Matomo on cloud, you might be familiar with some of the concepts that I'm talking about here to If you host your own Matomo, Matomo is uniquely positioned to support data mesh due to its flexible deployment options. Unlike most analytic platforms, Matomo can be hosted on-premise or in private cloud environments, allowing each team or domain to control its data independently, and this aligns perfectly with the decentralized nature of data mesh, where each business unit can own its own analytics setup without relying on a centralized third-party service. Because Matomo is open source, it's also customizable, enabling teams to tailor the tool to their specific domain requirements. Matomo was designed with privacy at its core, which is crucial for any data mesh architecture. Matomo's features include IP anonymization, customizable data retention policies, and user consent management tools, ensuring that each domain can meet privacy standards right from within the platform. It's also fully GDPR compliant, giving organizations confidence that they are respecting user privacy while gathering insights. This privacy-first approach makes Matomo an ideal choice for organizations that prioritize data protection and regulatory compliance. One of the main goals of data mesh is to give teams full ownership of their data, and Matomo supports this by design. With Matomo, data is never sent to an external server or a third-party provider. It remains entirely under the control of the organization. Each team has full authority over how data is collected, stored, and used, ensuring it aligns with their specific needs and goals. This data autonomy is essential for organizations implementing a data mesh, as it empowers teams to manage and analyze their data independently while ensuring it's secure and compliant. Matomo makes it easy to segment data by domain or department, allowing each business unit, like marketing, product, or customer support, to have its own dedicated analytics environment. This means that if one of the team needs specific metrics or data tracking that's irrelevant to others, they can tailor their analytics setup without interfering with or relying on other departments. It's perfect match for data mesh, where each domain needs its own analytics space to manage data as a product. With Matomo, teams don't need to be dependent on central IT or analytics team for every change or data request. Each department can configure and access their analytics independently, whether it's setting up new reports, creating dashboards, or customizing data collection parameters. This self-service approach saves time, reduces bottlenecks, and increases agility, empowering each domain to gain insights on its own timeline and based on its specific objectives. Matomo's flexibility in data collection means each team has control over what data they collect and how it's structured. This ensures that teams are gathering data that is directly relevant to their goals and use cases, making analytics more precise and valuable. They can decide what metric matter most, set custom dimensions, or add events specific to their workflows. This aligns perfectly with the data mesh goal of domain-specific data ownership, where each team treats its data as a product tailored to its unique needs. If you're familiar with the concept of domain-driven design, where you have each domain handling their own bounded contexts, Similar approach can be used with data mesh principles. We treat data as a product, and we have data consumers instead of centralized data teams. So some differences or a comparison with Matomo, data ownership remains entirely within the organization because it's an on-premise and open source platform. All collected data is stored securely on your own service rather than being sent to a third-party provider. In contrast, centralized analytics platforms like many cloud-based solutions store data externally on their own servers. This means organizations may have limited control over their data security, access, and long-term usage. Matomo's model ensures complete data autonomy, aligning with data mesh emphasis on decentralized and domain-specific ownership. Matomo's privacy-first approach includes built-in features like IP anonymization, user consent management, and flexible data retention policies. These privacy controls meet strict regulations such as GDPR and can be customized by each team to address domain-specific requirements. Centralized platforms often provide some privacy tools, but they may lack the depth and flexibility of Matomo's on-prem options, especially since data is stored externally, limiting control. Matomo's robust privacy controls make it a top choice for privacy-focused organizations, especially those with complex compliance needs across regions. Matomo can be scaled flexibly across different domains and departments, with each team able to configure analytics according to its specific needs. For instance, one team might track e-commerce metrics while another focuses on product engagement. Centralized platforms often treat analytics as a one-size-fits-all solution, which can make it hard for individual teams to adjust data collection and reporting to fit their exact requirements. With Matomo, each domain maintains its own analytics space, allowing for targeted data strategies without sacrificing organizational scalability. And I want to take a few minutes to discuss a couple of use cases or scenarios with Matomo in a data mesh architecture. I have been around long enough to see different approaches and architectures for how organizations work with their data collection and sharing data across different teams, creating bottlenecks for each other, and all kinds of bottlenecks. If we imagine a retail organization that owns several brands, each with its own identity and target market, using Matomo, this organization can set up independent analytics environments for each brand, enabling brand managers to track data that's specific to their customer base, such as seasonal purchasing trends or marketing campaign performance. At the same time, Matomo privacy features allow company to comply with regulatory requirement across all brands, ensuring data is collected, stored, and managed in compliance with relevant laws. Similar in healthcare, privacy and data security are paramount, especially given the sensitivity of patient information. A healthcare institution can use Matomo to give each department, like patient services, public health, and research, its own analytics setup. For instance, patient services can focus on engagement metrics, while public health monitors broader population trends. By decentralizing control, each department has the flexibility to handle data relevant to its needs, while Matomo's robust privacy controls ensure compliance with healthcare regulations, like HIPAA in the US, for example. An international organization operating in different regions faces complex privacy requirements that vary from one country to another. With Matomo, they can implement region-specific analytics setup, allowing each office to comply with local data privacy laws, such as GDPR in Europe or PIPL in China. Each region can control its own data collection and storage policies within Matomo, ensuring compliance while still providing a unified analytics framework for the organization. This structure helps the organization maintain a global presence without risking privacy non-compliance. These examples illustrate how Matomo's decentralized, privacy-centric approach supports diverse needs across industries, making it an ideal choice for organizations adopting data mesh principles. I'm gonna deep dive a little bit more into this topic because this is where it gets interesting, at least for me. So a question, since no one has asked a question, I will ask a question myself. So does this mean that the organization uses the same Matomo installation for all brands or separates them into their own Matomo installations? And the organization can approach this setup in two ways, depending on its specific needs for data independence, scalability, and compliance. A single Matomo installation with separate analytics environments per brand. In this scenario, the organization uses one Matomo installation but sets up separate websites or measurables for each brand within this installation. Each brand's data is isolated within its own environment, allowing brand managers to view and manage only their brand-specific analytics. You might say it's easier to maintain and upgrade. You get lower infrastructure costs or unified user access management. Privacy features can be configured for each website, and access permission can be restricted to each brand's data. And this model might be ideal for organizations that want centralized installations but need to delegate analytics management per brand while keeping data logically separated. On the other hand, you have separate Matomo installations for each brand. The organization could set up completely independent Matomo installations for each brand. This means each brand would have its own dedicated Matomo instance, potentially on separate servers or infrastructure. You will gain maximum data isolation, making it ideal for each brand has its unique infrastructure, security requirements, or compliance rules that vary by region or product line. Each brand can also fully control its instance without impacting others. This could be ideal for organizations with strict separation requirements, unique data management policies per brand, or different region with distinct regulatory constraints. In many cases, a single installation with separate environments per brand is sufficient. Matomo's multi-site capabilities allow for clear separation while keeping infrastructure streamlined. However, if brands have vastly different data governance or technical needs, separate installations provide the highest degree of independence. And what about if the organization has a central data analytics team? Then they would have to do roll-ups or integrate Matomo to a third-party tool, or use a data lake of some sort. And wouldn't that defeat the purpose of data mesh? If the organization has a central data analytics team that wants a consolidated view of data across all brands, this can indeed introduce challenges to the data mesh approach, as centralizing data aggregation may counteract some principles of decentralized ownership and autonomy. However, there are ways to approach this need while maintaining the core values of data mesh. Using Matomo rollups, for instance, allows the organization to aggregate data from multiple brands or websites within a single Matomo instance. Each brand still retains ownership and control of its data, while central analytics teams gain a high-level aggregated view without needing to centralize the raw data itself. This maintains data autonomy within each brand while enabling aggregated insights. Roll-up reporting can provide consolidated KPIs and metrics across brands without pulling data into separate systems. Also, roll-up reporting may not support all analytic needs, especially if more advanced cross-brand analytics or custom data models are required. For more complex data aggregation, a data mesh-aligned approach involves setting up a data lake or data warehouse that adheres to federated governance principles. One second. My daughter is home here with me. Just a second. Sorry for that. Each brand, where was I? I think I might run out of time here. I can come back to this topic if I want. Oh yeah, some other key aspects. If you want to use a distributed Matomo infrastructure where you have multiple Matomo installations per brand or different parts of your organization, there are other tools to consolidate data in a data mesh way. For a data mesh approach that uses data virtualization to access and query data across decentralized systems without centralizing it, there's a couple of options. There is a platform called Denodo, which I have never used, but it's you can create unified virtual layers over distributed data sources, including databases, data lakes, and even analytics platforms like Matomo. And you can get real-time federated querying capabilities across various data sources. It has a robust security and data governance tools and high performance for complex queries. There is also Starburst builds on Presto, which is open source distributed SQL query engine optimized for high speed, large scale data analytics. It enables data virtualization across distributed environments, allowing teams to query data across multiple sources as if it were a single database. Also supports advanced data federation, high performance distributed SQL queries, and integrates well with cloud and on-premise data sources. Well suited for organizations requiring high-speed federated querying capabilities across large volumes of data spread across domains, enabling insights without moving data from each brand's control. Both tools provide the capabilities needed for a data mesh aligned data architecture, enabling data access and querying across distributed domains while maintaining autonomy and compliance. So how do you use this in practice? To align Matomo with data mesh, the first step is to assign a clear data ownership within the platform. Each department or business unit, such as marketing, sales, or customer service, should have designated ownership of their analytics data. This means setting up specific permissions and access rights within Matomo so that each domain has full control over their data collection, reporting, and analysis. This ownership ensures accountability, empowers teams, and aligns with the data mesh principle of treating data as a product, where each domain is responsible for managing and maintaining its own data. A core advantage of data mesh is enabling teams to be self-sufficient in managing their own data needs. For Matomo, this means creating a self-service analytics environments for each domain, providing training, documentation, and resources, empowers teams to handle their own setup, configuration, and reporting needs without depending on a central IT team. This self-sufficiency minimizes bottlenecks, accelerates analytic workflows, and enables each team to respond quickly to their unique requirements. Even though each domain manages its own data, consistency is crucial for organization-wide data quality and compliance. Setting up governance standards within Matomo helps ensure that all domains follow the same best practices for data collection, privacy, and reporting. This might include guidelines for data retention, anonymization, and compliance checks, so that data is collected ethically and securely across the organization. With these standards, each domain can operate independently while still meeting organizational and regulatory requirements. Matomo is designed with privacy as a core priority, providing several tools to ensure data is collected and stored responsibly. Some key features include anonymization, data masking, consent management. So personal data like IP addresses can be masked, reducing the risk of identifying individual users, or masking, helping teams to secure sensitive information and ensuring that only relevant, non-personally identifiable information is stored. Matomo also includes customizable consent tracking tools, so teams can gather and record user consent based on each domain's needs and regional laws. This feature supports compliance by allowing data collection only when proper consent is obtained. Together, these tools empower each team or domain to manage data ethically and responsibly, making privacy a central part of the analytics process. In decentralized environments like data mesh, regulatory compliance can be challenging, especially with regional variations in privacy laws. Matomo's architecture is fully GDPR compliant by design, and it provides tools to manage data privacy across all domains consistently. And because Matomo can be hosted on-prem, each team maintains control over where and how data is stored, and an essential factor in GDPR and other regulations. Matomo's data retention policies, data anonymization, and customizable tracking align with key GDPR requirements and similar laws worldwide. Each domain can tailor privacy settings to local legal requirements, ensuring compliant data collection and handling by supporting privacy and compliance from ground up. Matomo gives organizations confidence that they are meeting the legal obligations while allowing teams the flexibility to control their own data. And the analytics landscape is evolving quickly, with organizations increasingly moving away from centralized, one size fits all data systems. Instead, we're seeing a strong trend toward domain driven, decentralized analytics that aligns with the principles of data mesh. Businesses recognize that when teams or domains have control over their own data, they can deliver more accurate, relevant, and actionable insights. At the same time, privacy concerns and data regulations like GDPR or CCPA are pushing organizations toward privacy centric architectures where data is handled responsibly, transparently, and in compliance with regional laws. This shift reflects a growing emphasis on data autonomy and compliance, allowing organizations to break down data silos and foster collaboration across teams without compromising on privacy or control. What about Matomo's role in the future? Matomo is well positioned to support the future decentralized and privacy first analytics. As an open source on prem solution, Matomo already gives organizations full control over their data and how it's stored, managed, and accessed. This aligns perfectly with data mesh principles, and Matomo's ongoing development is focused on further enabling flexibility, scalability, and privacy across domains. Future developments in Matomo will likely continue to enhance with features like interoperability, making it easier to integrate with various data systems, and tools that support decentralized domain-specific analytics, or advanced privacy tools, adding more privacy and compliance features to meet evolving global regulations, and scalability for distributed teams, improving the ability to manage data anonymously across teams while maintaining organization-wide standards for quality and compliance. As the industry increasingly adopts data mesh principles, Matomo will remain a valuable solution for organizations looking to decentralize analytics while maintaining a strong privacy and compliance foundation. And with that, I will leave some room for questions if we have any.
Hello. Actually, there is no question in the chat, but thank you for the talk. Again, we will wait for a few seconds if somebody is actually typing a question in the chat. Maybe just like 10 or 15 seconds. Okay, I don't think so. If there is one, I will read it. But in all case, thank you, Jorge, for your talk. Interesting again. So it will be available in replay in a few weeks or few months on YouTube too. We will have to cut the long day of Room 2 to every single tiny videos. So thank you. I saw that Alfonso just left the room, so there was somebody in play work adventure. So maybe you will stay again in the work adventure place to meet some of your viewers somehow. But thank you, and I guess we can now close the room until the next session. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.